Alrighty, everybody at JP Football Fanatics, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you. We are now live here at JP Football Fanatics, where we are about to go into the final week of the regular season in the Week 18 season of the NFL. So, with that all being said, before we move any further, please be sure to drop a like on this video. Leave a comment down below if you like anything that I'm providing to you right now. Please do me a favor. Do all those things. Hit that subscribe button. I would love to hear from you guys. I want more subscribers. I want to be able to have people be more involved as far as how the content that I provide and everything. So the more that you guys do that, you guys can definitely help me out in the long run. So please do all those things. Like, comment, subscribe. All will be good to JP Football Fanatics. Together, we can make it better. So thank you so much. We have one person in so far. Now we got two people in. Awesome. So thank you everybody for tuning in. It means a lot. What a crazy week. Very don't know the right word to really describe it at the moment, but we definitely a week to really remember. If you guys have been following along with what we've been talking about as of late, it's been very quiet week, but very like a week where we came closer to God, and just praying for Damar Hamlin. As you probably been keeping up to date as of late, Damar Hamlin did wake up, and it's looks like he's showing signs of progress, which is something that we, as fans, football fans, and analysis and whatever, what have you, we're very grateful that he's coming through with this, and it's awesome. It's definitely something that very crucial time, at this point in the season, and for something like that to happen is just very unprecedented, and definitely caused a lot of sorrow and pain. So I think this is going to be an interesting week for the Bills. I think a little bit now that they know that their free safety came out of the cardiac arrest. He survived, and he was able to wake up within a few days after the incident happened. So just keep on praying for him for a nice speedy recovery. Just hoping that everything goes well for him, and just taking it easy. Probably would be the best, I think, at this point to set out the rest of the year. Even though if it's a real crucial point of at this point in the season of doing that, but after that big scare right there, he definitely needs his time to recover and relax. So great to hear that Damar is doing great again, getting back into the swing of things and getting back on track. So we're seeing signs of improvement and having a good day. So that's good to see, and prayers worked. So thank you to everybody for supporting Damar this week, and just keeping the prayers up. And prayers continue to go out to the Buffalo Bills organization as they went through such scare. And it was something that, unprecedented, and, we weren't expecting this to happen. So keep those prayers up. All right. So with all that being said, let's get into the picks for this week, starting with the game that will be starting at 4:30. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Las Vegas Raiders. The Chiefs are favored by 9.5. The Raiders lost last week to the 49ers. I'm going with the Chiefs to win this one. I think, obviously the Raiders showed a really, really cool things last week as far as how they were able to play against a really good defense, in terms of a really good defense against like the 49ers. They really came to play. Jarrett Stidham had a really nice game tier too. I think the Raiders will have another nice game against the Chiefs, but I think we're looking at this point in the season, we're probably going to think the Chiefs are probably going to win this one, maybe clinch, a playoffs. Well, obviously they clinched a playoff spot, but maybe the number one seed they might be clinching. So for this year, so I think the Chiefs are going to win it. I think they're going to kind of go into this game. I think, it's going to be kind of close. I think that the Raiders will keep themselves in it. They're going to be playing a lot of their starters too. Jarrett Stidham is definitely starting even without, the elimination of the playoffs. Obviously they're eliminated now at this point in the season, but they're going to play what they can. I think they'll give the Chiefs a run for their money a little bit. It'll be tight to see. But yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs for this one. I think they have something that they really need to play for. and the Raiders at this point really don't have anything to play for. So I'll go with the Chiefs, but as far as the spread goes, I think 9.5 is a pretty large spread, especially in the Chiefs' case. So the spread would probably not be something I would do. Next, we've got the next game that will be happening later on tonight. The Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are favored by 6.5 points. I'm going with the Jags. The Jags have something to play for. Josh Dobbs getting the start for the Titans, and it's just not going to work out for the Titans. I know Dobbs tried everything he could last week against the Cowboys, and I think a lot of it has to do with how good the defense was against Dak and in terms of forcing turnovers, which they were able to do, really good. So the Titans will, they'll struggle here. I believe Derrick Henry will start here in this game, but even with Derrick Henry, there's not going to be that much of a change at this point in the season. The Titans are kind of in a position where, they had the AFC South, but Jacksonville's coming around. They're playing tough. They're definitely going to play everybody, and they're going to come in. They're going to come in hungry, and I think this is a team that could be like the Bengals of last season. So I'll take Jacksonville to win. I think they can cover the spread with Josh Dobbs as the quarterback. If it was Ryan Tannehill, it may have been a different story, and the spread would be lower. But no, I'll take the Jags to win with Trevor Lawrence and company. I'll take that defense too. I think the defense can probably feast up on this game, and I will take the points for Jacksonville. So that's how we'll do that. Next, we've got the Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers, with the Steelers being favored by 2.5 points. This is a must-win game for the Steelers in order to make it into the playoffs. If they lose this game, they will probably very likely be out, depending on how the Patriots do, how the Jets do, and I think how the Dolphins will do. So there's going to be a lot of games that the Steelers are going to have to pay close attention to. This is a must-win game for the Steelers. They need to win this game in order to get into the playoffs. The Steelers, offensively, I think they've been getting right at the right time. That relationship with Kenny Pickett and George Pickens, it's a real relationship these guys are having. I think this is a duo to watch out for in the future. The Browns, on the other hand, I think the Browns are also a team that, there's a lot of questions about the Browns in terms of their passing game. Deshaun Watson, is Deshaun Watson the real deal for this team? And I think, I think having him in there, I think next year when the team really gets themselves right, I think the Browns will probably be more of a competitive team next year. And if they can get their defense under control, I thought they played good defense last week, but they played against Carson Wentz. May have been a different story if Taylor Heineke had played in there, or maybe at this point, maybe Sam Howell, which we'll talk about, the starting quarterback for the Commanders this week. But the Browns, they're a good team. I think the Browns are a better team than people think. But the issue was really for this year was just no Deshaun Watson. But even Jacoby Brissett played well in his first 11 starts of the season that he was able to get. This is a very interesting game, intriguing game. I know the Browns were able to beat the Steelers early this year in Week 3, but that was around the time when Trubisky was the starting quarterback. This is Kenny Pickett now. It's a tough one. It's a toss-up, but I'm gonna take the Steelers. I think the Steelers just have a little bit more juice. Mike Tomlin, I thought they would have had a losing season by now. At this point in the season, they started out looking really bad, but I think they're coming on at the right time, in the right place. I think the Steelers will play this game. I didn't mean to say the Titans. I think the Steelers will win this game, and I think they'll cover the spread because I think the Browns are just playing, just to have fun with it. There's not really much they really have to play for, but it could be it could go either way. I think the game could go really either way. So the Steelers will probably win this game, and I think the Steelers will cover. Next game is another AFC North division foe of the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are favored by 9.5 points. No Lamar Jackson still for the Ravens, and if that's the case, the Bengals will definitely win. I think the Bengals, they're coming off of a week of disbelief and scarce a little bit. They're not, they're probably not going to play their A game as far as that goes. But I think at this point now in the season, I think the Bengals will have this division pretty much clinched. From the looks of it right now, I think that they'll clinch it by tomorrow. I think personally, I mean, the Ravens defense will give Joe Burrow some problems. He did. I know the defense did give him some problems earlier in the season. And I think they will. I think the defense will hang around there. I think they'll play some good defense against Joe Burrow. They'll get a lot of pressure on him. But the Bengals are hot right now. They're a hot team. They're one of the hottest teams in the NFL. I love Joe Burrow. I love the receivers that they have: T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd. Joe Mixon is really good in the backfield. Samaj Pirine, Hayden Hurst at tight end. The Bengals have it all. And defensively, I like what they have on defense. I think Von Bell is a big difference maker for this team too. I think when he plays in this game, the defense plays a lot better. But I like this game. I think this is a good matchup here. It's a good way for the Bengals to really make a statement here, and I think they could do that. I don't know if the spread of 9.5 is a good spread to really bet on, but at the same time, though, I like what the straight up is, so I probably will take the straight up of the Bengals at 9.5. At the Bengals here, I think they'll win. Excuse me. I think they'll win the straight up. But as far as the points go, I think 9.5 is a little bit more, depending of whether or not there's more injuries on it. Though you can take the bet if you wish, but I think that defense of the Ravens is going to keep Joe Burrow and company in play. So I'll take the Bengals. I think they win the straight up. But I'll pass this game. I'll pass on this game on betting because I think 9.5, depending on how everything works out, might be a little bit too much. All right, next we've got the Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears. The Vikings are favored by 5.5. The Vikings, we've seen what they are already. I mean, they've been good all year round. They've won so many close games. They close out a lot of close games. They've had one blowout game. I forget the game who that was against. But any other game that they played, they got absolutely obliterated last week by Green Bay. They got obliterated by Dallas. They lost a closer game, I guess you could say, from Detroit. That's coming around at the right time. And the other loss they had, they did get beat up by the Eagles too. So a lot of all their losses so far has not really been very close. And I don't think it's going to be. And I don't think the Vikings are going to get blown out. I do not believe they're going to get blown out against the Bears. But I think this is a game that the Bears have a very good chance of winning. They're not the better team. The Bears are not a great team whatsoever. They're not very good. But the run game, Justin Fields in rushing yardage, he's going to rush all over this Vikings defense. At this point in the season, the Vikings defense is absolutely positively not anywhere near what they kind of started with the season with a little bit. So they're definitely regressing, and it's going to be tough. I just don't trust this defense. I don't think I don't trust this defense whatsoever. And this game is in Chicago, and that's a tough place to play, regardless of your record and regardless of who's playing out there on the field. So I think this is a game where the Bears could upset the Vikings. I really do. I think this is an upset game, and this is the game that the 49ers are going to want to hope that the Vikings don't win. And obviously the Eagles, for playoff implications in terms of seeding, they'll probably want to be looking out on this game too to have the Bears beat the Vikings, and I think it will happen. I mean, I like Kirk Cousins. I really do. Kirk Cousins, great quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I like what he's got around him, but this is a different atmosphere that he's playing in. This is not Minnesota. This is Chicago. This is a place, a stadium where he struggled in since he went to Minnesota. So I will take the Bears. I think the Bears have a good chance of winning, especially the straight up. But I will take the Vikings to cover the spread, though. I think that's a good way to really look at it because I think it's a game where the Vikings obviously would be able to win. I think Justin Fields will have a field day and Kirk Cousins will have a field day. But at the same time, the defense is going to let up a lot of points. And I think that's where the Bears are going to take over, and they're going to allow Justin Fields and company to rush all over the field, where something that the Vikings have not been able to stop in recent times. So I will take the Bears, but I'll take the Bears to win the straight up, but I will take the Vikings to cover the spread of 5.5. Next, we've got the New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are favored by 7 points even. This is a game where the Patriots have to win. Depending on how the Bills, in terms of how they go about this game, are they going to play all their players? Even if they don't play all their players, they still have a good chance of beating the Patriots because the offense of the Patriots stinks. This game is very interesting. I think this is a game where the Bills, I would love to see the Bills come back from a devastating, tragedy that happened last Monday night. I think they can definitely do that. I think the team is going to play absolutely hard. I think Josh Allen is going to play absolutely hard. They've got a lot of emotions to feel out, and I think this is where they can get it at home against one of their rivals of New England. And I feel bad. I would like to see New England try to do something, especially with that defense and how they match up with teams like, potentially, they would probably play the Bills next week or the Bengals and see what they would have been able to do for either one of them. But the Bills have something to fight for. The Patriots, not so much. The offense, it's been a rough year for the Patriots. So I'll take the Bills. I think the Bills win the straight up. I think the Bills can easily cover the 7 points. I think it's very well possible. So I think the Bills have a lot to fight for. So I will definitely take the Bills to win the straight up. I will take them to cover the spread. I think they have a lot to play for, and they'll have a lot of emotions to come out during this game in terms of the whole Damar Hamlin situation that happened last week. So they're fighting for their lives here. So I think they can do it. I think the Bills will do it. Next, we've got the New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are favored by 3. Tua is still out with a concussion. So with no Tua, they're probably not going to win. But the Jets also struggle too. They have not been able to produce anything offensively in weeks. With Zach Wilson, it looked even worse. They weren't able to produce anything offensively last week against the Seahawks. And without Breece Hall at running back, this hurts this team a lot. And they really do. And, the Jets were a team that kind of looked like they were getting back on track. They looked like they were probably going to get themselves, situated. They, defensively, they started out the season hot. It looks like they were going to finally get over that hump. But nope, they still have their issues of what they have. So they've got a lot to really think about here. They've got a lot to really see what they can do. They got to really analyze and see who their quarterback is going to be moving forward. Derek Carr, if it's going to be Derek Carr, if he expresses interest here, this would be a pretty good fit for him, I believe. I think they have the talent. I think just the biggest thing for the Jets is the quarterback. I think they just need the quarterback that's going to fit into the right system. And if he gets a good defensive coach like Robert Saleh, or if Saleh, if anything happens on Sunday, if he does not get fired in this case, that would be a good coach to really work under. So I think the Jets have some things of what they can do. I think their defense is going to give Teddy Bridgewater a lot of problems. Actually, I don't even think it is Teddy Bridgewater. Let me look that up real quick and see who the starting quarterback is for the Dolphins this week. But it may not even be Teddy Bridgewater because he got injured. Last week against the Patriots. All right, so I haven't really heard, I haven't seen anything yet. So it might be Skylar Thompson. He might be the starting quarterback for the Dolphins this week. And if that's the case, the Jets might have a chance. Might. But that's a very strong might. They say they're saying very likely that Skylar Thompson will be the starting quarterback. But regardless of who it is, the Jets defense is very good. Without Tua, without his, capability of throwing the deep ball to Tyreek Hill, the Jets should be able to win despite being in Miami. So That's what I'm looking at here. And it's a shame for the Dolphins to start out really red hot this year, but the Jets will probably win this game. And I think a lot of it they're going to win is just based off of good defense and just good play calling. So just very conservative play calling because the Dolphins defense is not that great. It's really not good, really not that good at it. I think they're like the Ravens defense. They're very similar to the Ravens defense. The only way they get pressure on the opposing team is if they blitz. That's the only thing that really gets this team going. So, and with the quarterback issues here between Bridgewater and Thompson, it looks like it's going to be Thompson, I think. But we'll see what really happens tomorrow. You'll get the official word on that. But regardless of who it is, the Jets will probably win this game. And the Jets probably will take – I probably would take the Jets +3. And that's what I would do for that one. So the Jets to win the straight up, but the Jets to cover the spread. Next, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons, who are favored by 4.5 points. This is an interesting game here. As far as I know, or this is what I've heard, I've been so busy lately with calling wrestling matches and everything for around the high schools here in the state of New Jersey, or especially in my part of where I live. But I have not really caught up with it lately. But I'm pretty sure the Bucs starting lineup, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of starters playing for this week. That's very recently. That's really the reason why they probably are favored in here right now, because they're going to sit their starters. They already clinched the division. They swept the New Orleans Saints, and they're already eliminated. They beat the Panthers once and lost to them once, and they beat the Falcons already. So they already clinched the division. They don't really have to play this week, really play much or play that hard this week. So the Falcons, I think, with the Falcons and their situation, at quarterback, Desmond Ridder started since week 15. He has not shown any really huge, impression for me. I don't think he's really played all that special. I don't think he separates much from Marcus Mariota, but I think the Falcons will win this game. They kind of played the way they did last week against the Cardinals, which is a game I didn't really want to talk about too much from last week because it was a game at that point in the season where you didn't really have to really worry about playoff implications because both teams were already eliminated. So I'll take the Falcons to win. I think they finished their season on a strong note, but Desmond Ridder is probably not going to have the greatest day on earth, basically because that Bucs defense will still find ways to play pretty darn good. So I will pick the Falcons to win. I think they'll cover the spread, and the Bucs will go into the wild card week. So that's what we're looking at, and that's what we're going to do. So that's what I'm looking at. Falcons, straight up, Falcons spread. Another game that doesn't really mean anything, and I'm not going to talk too much about it, is the Carolina Panthers at the New Orleans Saints. I like the story of the Panthers. I thought they started out really, 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 really bad with Baker Mayfield. It didn't look like they were, they did not look like they were going to be in a position to win the division based off of how the season started. But I like the story of what they've had after trading away Christian McCaffrey, after trading away Baker Mayfield and what have you, and getting all these, these draft picks for next year or what have you, or, and basically in some cases you don't really get anything in return of Christian McCaffrey. But, regardless, I like what they've done. I like the story that they have. I think the interim coach of Steve Wilkes is, I think he's probably going to be, hopefully, maybe he might be the next season's head coach for this team. I thought he did a pretty good job getting this team back on track. I think, with Ben McAdoo, I do not like Ben McAdoo. I didn't like him when he was the coach of the New York Giants. I don't really like his play calling, but I thought he's done a well enough job to keep afloat the quarterbacks that he had. I think he worked around what Sam Darnold is and what PJ Walker has. I think he's worked a lot more around what they have versus what Baker Mayfield had. I don't think they really wanted Baker Mayfield to have the success of being the success of the quarterback that we all truly thought he would have had with this team. Didn't really quite work out with him there. But I like what Sam Darnold has done. I like what PJ Walker's done. I don't think PJ Walker is a good quarterback, but I think with the right coaching staff, the right offense that fits into a scheme, is where you're going to see the most success here. The Saints with Andy Dalton, they stuck with Andy Dalton for the vast majority of the season, and it's some days it worked out well, other days not so much. So the Saints are another team they're probably going to have to look for a future quarterback going into the draft, and that's something they need to look into. So I think a good chance for the Saints to win, I think, is a good thing. I think the Saints will win. I think Andy Dalton will help lead this team to a nice strong ending here. Um, with the Panthers and some of the issues they've had lately, especially what they had against that Bucks, is definitely going to be a tough one for them to swallow. And I think it's going to be tough to go about that. So I think the Saints will win. I think they cover the spread too of 3.5. Not much more I can talk about this game. So we'll leave it at that. The Saints win. The Saints straight up. Next, we've got the Texans at the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are at 2.5 points. Both teams have been very bad all year, but I think the only team that I kind of saw some upside to is the Texans. I think the Texans will beat the Colts. The Colts have not done anything since Jeff Saturday came in, and when they beat the Raiders, that was it. After the Raiders, they just have been losing the rest of the way. So why would I pick the Colts now at this point in the season? There's nothing left for them. Nick Foles is probably going to be out with Sam Ellinger starting this week, I believe. I'll check that real quick to confirm, but I believe Sam Ellinger will probably play this week, if I'm not mistaken, based off of. But yeah, it's probably going to be Sam Ellinger. I don't believe it's going to be Nick Foles because I think Nick Foles is injured. And I think at this point, there's no reason to really start Matt Ryan either because Matt Ryan hasn't done anything. So the Colts are in a situation where they now have to look for a new quarterback. Is it going to be Derek Carr? Are they going to draft a quarterback? I don't know. I have no idea. We'll see what happens. But regardless of who the quarterback is, I'm going with the Texans. I will go with the Texans. I have no. Okay, so it is Sam Ellinger. Okay, so because Nick Foles is out with a rib injury. Okay, so Texans will win. I'm just gonna say that right now. I'll throw that out there. The Texans will win this game. They'll cover the spread. They'll probably win the game, and I probably would take the 2.5 for the Texans plus 2.5 rather. So Texans will win. I think they're showing some upside here. They're still not a very good team. They got a long ways to go before it, but the Colts aren't very good either, and I don't think the Colts are heading into the right direction. So next, we've got the Arizona Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers, who are 14-point favorites. It's crazy enough, another game that doesn't really matter much for the Cardinals. I'll take the 49ers to win. I think the 49ers, they're just a complete team. The coaching staff is awesome. The defense is awesome. Offense is awesome. Brock Purdy, as a third-string quarterback, is playing well, and I think this is a quarterback that needs to take over this 49ers team. I just think he's the guy that can lead this team into the right direction. He's like a Jimmy Garoppolo, very similar to Jimmy Garoppolo in some ways. Has the same throwing motion, has the same way of, how he commands the offense. But what's different about him is that he's willing to take more risks. He manages the game just as well as, if not maybe slightly better than Jimmy G, but he fits into the system well. I think he just pushes the ball just, a little bit further down the field, and that's something that the 49ers do need. They just have a very, very nice balance of what they can do. So I will take the 49ers. I think the 49ers win. They need this win to possibly get the first round bye. Very well possible. I will take the 49ers. I think they got a good chance to win. And I think they definitely cover the spread of 14 because the Cardinals, at this point, what do they really have to play for? They have nothing left to play for. All right, next we've got the Dallas Cowboys as 7-point favorites with the Washington Commanders, and they're 7-point favorites. Yeah, Cowboys. Cowboys are going to win, is what I'm calling right now. Maybe not the 7. Maybe they won't cover the spread. because I am concerned. I am a little bit concerned, or a lot concerned. I don't really care. I'm not a Cowboys fan anyway. I do have concern about them, though. I think they just don't know the right way to describe it, but Dak Prescott concerns me. And it's all because of his turnovers lately. That would probably cost him the game. And the Washington defense is pretty solid, I believe. I think that defensive line that they have is pretty solid. The Commanders won't be able to really do anything on offense. They're starting Sam Howell this week. No more Carson Wentz, no more Taylor Heineke. They're going with Sam Howell. So that just goes to show you that the Commanders have given up for the season going into the third string quarterback of Sam Howell. And we'll see how he does. Maybe he will be a good fit for this team and maybe carry this team moving forward. I don't know. When I saw him in preseason, I didn't think he looked anything special. I just thought he was meh. We'll see if he fits into the Ron Rivera system a little bit more, but we'll see if Ron Rivera even actually keeps his job after this game tomorrow, which I think is a very, very unlikely thing that he probably will be. I know he tried his best to, carry the team back to, around 500 and have a winning season. Just by the way, with how Taylor Heineke was playing, how he was responding. But at this point in the season, they already eliminated for the playoffs, so they don't really have much to play for at this point in the season. So might as well go with Sam Howell. It's not going to really make any kind of difference regardless. But I'll take the Cowboys to win. But I think the Commanders can hang around just a little bit, where the Cowboys will get some turnovers. But at the same time, the Cowboys will also force turnovers on the defensive side because their pass rush is still pretty darn good. So we'll go with the Cowboys covering the spread. The Cowboys going, winning the game straight up, and we'll go with, and passing on from the spread. As I sit here and I'm watching the Chiefs Raiders game right now with Ben Watson just getting a big chunk of yardage there, already in red zone range from the Vegas. Looks like they're within the 5. They're right inside the 5, so they're on the 3-yard line. So I'm already keeping an eye on for that. So the next game, we've got the Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks, who are favored by 6 points. A very crucial game for the Packers, a very crucial game for the Lions. Both teams will need to hope that the Rams beat the Seahawks. Excuse me. The Seahawks will need to lose to the Rams in order for the Packers or the Lions to go into this game, to go into the playoffs. But especially the Lions. The Lions need to make sure that they do that, because if the Lions win and the Seahawks win, the Seahawks will get that 7 seed because of the head-to-head victory over the Lions. And if the Seahawks still win, I think it has something to do with the conference. I'm not entirely sure on that. I have to look more in depth. I don't really want to get too technical with that, but regardless, though, both teams will need Seattle to lose. So, man, do I want to go with the upset? Because I kind of like the story of the Seahawks this year. I think the story of the Seahawks is pretty inspiring with the fact that, Geno Smith, a guy who no one really ever imagined him to really step up to the plate to perform as well as he's had all year. But the problem is I just can't trust this defense. That has been regressing. So that makes it very difficult. The Rams on the other side, they don't show a lot of upside either, but with Baker Mayfield coming into play, I think he's better than any of the other quarterbacks that they had after Matthew Stafford got injured. So it's a good chance that the Rams can pull off an upset. And I think that's exactly what they could do. I think Cam Akers, playing now at this, later part of the year is playing better, which is nice to see. Um, and with Baker Mayfield playing the way that he has been with the Rams, it hasn't been exactly, beautiful, but definitely much better than people really think. Especially, I think, really, it's been a lot better since he got out of Carolina. So I think this is a game where the Rams could upset. Could be a game where the Rams upset. So I will take the upset for the Rams for the Lions and Packers' sake, and I think they can also run all over them too. Is what I'm looking at. So we'll go with that. The Rams straight up, but a game to not really worth to really bet on. All right, so the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are favored by 14 points. The Giants really don't need to play for anything. They really can sit everybody, which they probably will be sitting all their starters this week. They don't really need to play. They already clinched the playoff spot, so don't really need to play this week. The Eagles, however, I would probably want, if I was the Eagles coach of Nick Sirianni, if I was the organization, I probably would want all my starters playing this week because of like the first seed implications. Because of the 49ers win, they could possibly steal that one spot away. Steal that spot, and if the Eagles sit everybody, all their starters out, they could potentially lose that, and that could hurt them going into the playoffs. So that could be something really too. In that case, so I'm not sure what's going on this week. I think at this point, I think for the Eagles, okay, so they did say that Jalen Hurts is going to start at quarterback, so that's definitely going to make a difference. Nothing against Gardner Minshew, obviously, um, but but without Jalen Hurts, this team really hasn't really. It doesn't really do anything without him. So at this point, the Giants don't really need to play for anything. So I would probably take the Eagles too. And as far as the spread goes, yeah, they probably will cover the spread if they were playing Jalen Hurts. It'll be, I think the spread is 14. I think that's a pretty good spread right there that they can do, especially if the Giants are going to sit all their players. So I'll take the Eagles to win the straight up. Giants don't really need to prove anything else except just take it out all in the playoffs, and then we'll see who they play from there. And if they play the Vikings, that could be a very, very winnable game for the Giants. So we'll see. Next, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Denver Broncos, who are favored by 3 points even. The Chargers also do not have anything else to really play for, but I still think the Chargers win because of just how brutal of a season that the Broncos have had. They've just been bad all season long. The Chargers don't have anything to really play for. They already clinched their playoff spot, so they're probably going to sit, Justin Herbert. They'll probably sit him this week. They'll probably sit out all their starters in this week. Defensively, I think, defensively they've been playing hot. Maybe Russell Wilson will probably get something sparking here a little bit, depending on how things go. For him, maybe he'll get some things going. I know he's played well against the Chiefs this year. That's the only 2 games where he has played well and his team has played well. But the Chargers are a tougher team, in my opinion, than the Chiefs are, especially this later point of the season. I think they've been a lot tougher. They're more physical. They're quick to action. I think, Justin Herbert's playing good at the right time. And defense is just playing better. I think they're a better team than the Chiefs personally. Nothing against Patrick Mahomes and company. I think, offensively for the Chiefs, you got to look out for them. But the Chargers are more of a scarier team. I would be more scared to face the Chargers than I would be facing the Chiefs, if I'm being honest with you. But the Broncos have that chance of winning. I think they could probably pull this one off. Maybe play a good game, especially if none of the starters play for the Chargers this week. But I kind of want to see how the Chargers do. I just don't want to hear anything more about the Broncos this year. I think they just stink. They've been bad all year. I think you just need to work for a draft pick. So I'll take the Chargers. I will take them +3. Straight up, and the spread of +3 because I can't. I just cannot go with the Broncos. It's just been atrocious all season long. And then finally, we got Sunday Night Football, and what better way to end the regular season than a game with the Detroit Lions going up to Lambeau Field to play Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are favored by 4.5 points. This is Sunday Night Football, prime time. Both teams 8-8. One of these teams will very likely get into the playoffs. One of them is probably going to miss out on the playoffs. Who do I want to win? I don't know, man. I like the Lions. I really like the Lions this year. I think they've had a nice story. But the Green Bay Packers, man, the Packers have been hot lately. Very hot. They have not lost a game in over a month. This team now is getting hot at the right time. They're doing what they need to do to succeed. They're finally figuring out the number one receiver of Christian Watson, which is huge. And the defense of the secondary players like Jair Alexander is playing really well lately. I think the secondary can play. They play really good coverage. That could probably get to some kind of pressure for Jared Goff. Maybe he'll get some turnovers here and there. But the Lions, man, have come so far this season. Despite the record of 8-8, I feel like they've come far. And I feel like Jared Goff has been underrated all year. I don't think there has been enough people that have given Jared Goff the credit that he deserves. So who would I want to go for? Do I want Detroit or do I want Green Bay? Probably the upset. The slightest of slight upsets. I know it's in Lambeau Field. I know it's Aaron Rodgers. And it's the Green Bay Packers. But give me the Lions! The Lions have earned it. Aaron Rodgers, you're unbelievable. You're great. You are a legend. But the Lions have faced through so much adversity from their entire franchise history. They deserve this moment to be recognized on prime time. They deserve to squeak in to this last playoff spot to go to the playoffs and prove the team of what they are. That's why I got to go with Detroit. I really want the upset. I don't really have a logical reason why or how they're going to beat them or why I think they're going to beat them. I just want the upset. The slightest of slight upsets, I want the Lions to win. I think they can do it on prime time. And I think they'll get the Seahawks out of there, sneak in, and if they get either Minnesota or maybe the Eagles again, depending on how the Niners do and how the Eagles do, we'll see who they have to play in the first round. But give me the Lions. Give me the Lions. They've got this. And with all that being said, everybody, that concludes the final week of the regular season picks for Week 18. Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know which teams you think are going to win this week. Which one is going to be the game of the week. Let me know what your picks are and maybe what your best bets are. Before I close off, please do me the favor. Drop a like on this video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know the content that you would like me to produce moving forward. I know it may sound bland right now. I know everything is not up to where I want it to be. But without your guys' support, I can't do it by myself. I need you guys. Drop a like. It looks like thumbs up like this. Drop a like. Leave a comment below. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. If you do all those things, you are helping me come a long way to create good content for you guys. That's all I care about, is creating good content for you guys. I care about you guys. So please, help a guy out. Like, comment, subscribe, notification bell. Whenever I post something new, you will always be notified. Please, help me out in doing so. And with all that being said, everybody, this is JP Football Fanatics saying peace out. And I will see you next time when I do my weekly recap. And I will let you know in the next day or two when that will occur. So thank you, everybody. Have a blessed night.